recording this. That way, if somebody had to work and couldn't be here, they can watch it later on. And same thing for you guys. If there's something we missed, then you can always go back and check out the YouTube part. So this is going to be a little bit more details than what we did earlier in the year. So I can't do the headphones. Kind of a little bit more detail than what we did in June. So if you have questions, we know a little bit more about our traveling than when we did. A couple things. Right now, the plan is for us to hop on a charter bus early in the morning and drive to Houston. You know, our little airport is nice, but it just doesn't have the same amount of flights that the Intercontinental does in Houston. And the idea is to get to Germany as fast as possible. We could probably leave out of San Antonio, but we'd have to leave later in the day, and then we're kind of wasting a day traveling. So the plan is to try to catch the earliest flight to Germany out of Houston as possible. And what I told the kids, you know, we may have to meet at Churchill at 2 in the morning. They'll be awake for a little while. We'll put them on the charter bus, take roll, put them back to bed, wake them up at the airport. We'll get them through security and all that kind of good stuff, and then get them on the plane. They'll go back to sleep. And then when they wake up, they'll be in a place where people don't speak English. That's kind of our plan with the traveling there. The rest of it is pretty much kind of stayed the same. But the itinerary really hadn't changed a whole lot. I know the Bell Foundry thing is now, that was kind of an iffy thing. It's in place now. So she's going to go over some of the new stuff, some of the payment plans again, a little bit about the itinerary. And I mean, of course, I'm here. I'll monitor the chat. So if you have questions, let's throw them in the chat, and then I'll try to bob in and out there. And then, of course, you know, if you think of something later on, I'm always around. You can send me an email or a text message.
Cool. Thanks so much. Hi, everyone. I'm Sasha. I've been working with World Strides.
We can't hear you just yet.
That's weird. Still?
Or at least I can't. Can you guys hear? Oh, it's just me. Okay. All right.
Oh, it's
never
just
mind.
you.
I heard her, Mr. T.
Are your headphones still plugged in? Now, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hate these stupid headphones.
Okay, cool. Thank you all for giving me a little bit of your time. I promise we won't be here too long. My name is Sasha. I've been working with World Strides for a couple of years, and not only am I here to chat with you about the trip and answer your questions, but I'll also be the person that's like making those detailed arrangements for your group. So I'm gonna like see this through from beginning to end, and I'm really excited. I know that y'all are in great hands with Mr. Thibodeau. He's clearly a very experienced traveler. He has been around the block with regards to this, and so I'm happy to help support. And as he said, if you have questions like after this that you just think of as you're looking through information, feel free to email him. He'll get in touch with me. We'll make sure you get the information that you need. So you don't really need to take notes or anything like that. You know, I'm here to answer your questions today or later. So I'm just going to do a quick little presentation about this trip that he put together for the students, and we will go from there. So I'm going to just bring up this presentation. Hopefully you all can see, you know, beautiful alpine locale here. So we're looking at March 6th through 13th of next year. So it's coming up, which is really exciting. So a little bit about World Strides. World Strides has been around doing educational travel since 1955. So with that length of, you know, practice comes a lot of experience, and also a lot of people to help make sure that all of the tours are very successful. Over 500,000 students travel with us during a normal year. We have had students travel with us this year. The Performing Arts Division did have 2 groups go to Europe this summer, but World Strides as an organization has other departments and other divisions, and they've had people travel, and it's been very successful, and no COVID. I think it was a 0.04%, you know, rate of COVID for people coming back. So over 500,000 students per year, 50,000 teachers per year. We've got many offices worldwide. So we've got people that are in the countries where you're going that are helping us so that, it's not just us in the US here, making sure things go great abroad. We've got people actually there that really know everything and really make sure we deliver a wonderful tour. We have a lot of layers of assurance to make sure that your travelers are safe and that the trip goes off smoothly without a hitch. Our job is to make sure that when the students are abroad and any parents that may be going, that all you have to worry about is enjoying yourself and, of course, performing wonderful music. And the rest of it is up to us. So you'll have access to a 24/7. It's now called World Strides on Call, but like anything that may go awry, you know how things are when we travel. There's always something that comes up. They will be there to help facilitate and be very solution oriented and help you navigate any sort of hiccup that may arise. We also have a 24/7 Doctors on Call program through the George Washington Medical Center, George Washington University Medical Center. So this could be great for, of course, if anybody gets ill while on tour or skins their knee, but also if somebody like forgets a prescription or something like that, y'all can call Doctors on Call and they will call in that prescription, tell you where to go get it so that nobody has to navigate a foreign medical system, which can be a little stressful. Everyone that travels with us also has medical and accident insurance. And we, of course, work with government organizations, State Department, World Health Organization, the CDC, all of that to make sure that everything and everyone is very safe. We, of course, have a lot of people travel with us, but most importantly, everyone comes home safely. We also have trip cancellation protection, which I will talk about later, which is included in your trip cost. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. Now, the actual trip itself, honestly, this itinerary is fantastic. You could tell that someone has definitely gone to these countries before and wanted to put in some stuff that maybe your first-time traveler wouldn't throw in there. So I'm very envious of this itinerary. It is going to be amazing. Landing in Munich and, of course, seeing Neuschwanstein Castle with the notorious Mad King Ludwig II that he built that. But then I love the trip into Innsbruck, a beautiful alpine town, mountains in the distance, so gorgeous that we've written amazing art songs about it. Of course, going to Salzburg, the birthplace of Mozart, visiting the Hallein salt mines, which is an amazing and really cool experience that everyone really enjoys. Vienna, you can't not go to Vienna, such a hub for classical music throughout the common practice period, and of course attending a performance as well, because performing is one thing, but attending a performance is a totally different type of education. So a few sites that the students will see: Neuschwanstein, the inspiration for Disney castles and Cinderella castles on the left here, the stunning and massive Marienplatz in downtown Munich. Everyone will be able to go through there. The quainter place in Innsbruck with the mountains in the distance. We'll be able to do some walking tours through there, and that's also where the Bell Foundry is. Salzburg, going to Mozart's birthplace, seeing the Salzburg Cathedral, strolling the streets and enjoying all that it has to offer. Hopefully a Sachertorte or something delicious. And then Hallein and the salt mines, learning a little bit about the history of salt mines, and the people that worked in them, which I know sounds a little kind of kooky, but you get to go into the earth and learn more about that experience. And it's like very kind of fun. It's almost like an amusement park kind of set up through there. You can see this family in the center here having a great time. Then into Salzburg, in addition to the Salzburg Cathedral and the Haus der Musik, which is an interactive museum about classical music that's in the former home of Otto Nicolai, who was the founder of the Vienna Philharmonic. You'll see Schönbrunn Palace, and of course the Central Cemetery, where some of the greats of classical music are now resting for a long time. And attending a performance in some prestigious venues such as the Moot, which is where the Vienna Boys Choir is based, or the Musikverein, these stunning venues that are, we have some stunning venues here in the US, but there's something a little extra special about somewhere a bit more historic. So as far as the performances, you will attend a performance, but then have 2 performances for your group on their own, one in Innsbruck and one in Vienna. They will be very different performances because these cities are very different. And I think that will be an amazing, sort of contrasting experience for the students. Innsbruck, we're still working on the final venue confirmations for this. I'll be working with Mr. Thibodeau on finalizing those venues and what works great for your group. But St. Gilgen on the sea there would be a wonderful place. It's got a historic bandstand outside, which would be really lovely, or potentially the Mozart House. In Vienna itself, we're looking at potentially the Moot, which would be fantastic. We can get wonderful audiences there, potentially the National Church of Mary in the Snow, but we have fantastic options in Vienna, and we do market your performances so that you have an engaged audience. We want to make sure that that is definitely part of the experience, because having a receptive audience is just about everything when you're a musician. Additional highlights about the way that our trips operate. This will of course be a private consolidated tour. You will not be sharing with anyone. So your group you'll need more than one private coach. So they're licensed, bonded, insured, reputable companies that we work with, comfortable charter buses. And on those you will have one tour director per coach. So they will be with you 24/7 as well. Everyone will be in centrally located 3- or 4-star hotel accommodations where breakfast will be served daily. Just so you know, 3- or 4-star in Europe is actually a little bit nicer than what it would be here. It's more like 3.5 or 4.5 in the US, just slightly different standards. But they will be safe, clean, new, centrally located, and a wonderful place to get a nice snooze after the full day. I mentioned these tour directors. They will be multilingual, so that will be one less thing to worry about. But these are very coveted positions. Our tour directors, they really bring the tours to life. Not only do they help with administrative stuff and restaurants and dietary restrictions, making sure that everyone is really well taken care of in these situations, but they will also talk more about the history of where you are and make sure that everyone understands the ins and outs of where they are and the history and what makes it really interesting and fun. But they're not going to be like, those tour guides that we've all seen where they've got like a poster board and they're screaming. It's going to be a little more like normal, and no one will be sort of pedantically talking down to any students. We're trying to make it fun. So they are also, of course, trained in our security practices and policies and procedures. So they're going to be a huge part of the trip as well. And everyone always loves their tour directors. We get, repeat travelers that are like, we want to have that tour director again. So everybody always loves that component. I believe all meals are included with your whole trip. So BLD. The only ones that wouldn't be included would be like on the travel days, like the international flying days. Might want to bring a snack or maybe grab a little nosh in the airport. But yes, breakfast, lunch, and a multi-course dinner daily while in country. And we make sure that these are, local establishments with local food, because, you're traveling to learn more about a new place. So they won't be, chain restaurants that we could find anywhere. Daily breakfast, and we of course have some schnitzel on the left and some wurst on the right, and there will be lots of good options, but try something new. Also, schnitzel is just fried meat. We love that. So so what's included with your pricing and tour package? Of course, I will make sure that you have, and I know that Mr. Thibodeau linked to the itinerary and all the inclusions, but I will also have him forward an additional email that I'll send that has, the link to the itinerary, information about the trip protection that's included, the payment plans, how to register. It'll all be in one happy place, so that you can reference it when you need it. So, okay, included in this trip cost is your round trip airfare. And just to piggyback on what he said before I started, yes, likely flying out of Houston, but the advantage is not only getting to Europe earlier in the day, but also that you'll be flying, we are pretty sure, on one plane, which is huge, as opposed to splitting up the group onto multiple planes. This, of course, will lower Mr. Thibodeau's stress level considerably, and probably all the rest of you as well. So everyone will be together, and that is just like, you kind of can't put a price on that, if I'm being perfectly honest with you. But also included is the charter busing, your tour directors, one per bus. The travel and medical insurance is all included. High school students can earn 3 college prep credits through UCSD Extension. It's it's an online course that they can complete after travel, 6 months after travel. So a great little summer project to earn 3 college prep credits. Looks great on college applications. And it's an online course, which when I first started here, I was like, what do high school kids know about online courses? Well, now they know too much. So it's a global perspectives course. It just gives them opportunities to sort of reflect on their experience. And we do have an accredited curriculum and academics team that would give them feedback and all of that. So it is a legitimate learning experience. They can also get performing arts high school credit if they opt to do that instead. Customer support for all of you. All of your hotels, all the meals, all the excursions, all the tips and gratuities, all of the concerts, and marketing of the concerts. So the cost for travelers is $42.49 for all of that. And that's, let's see, the 6th through the 13th. That's an 8-day, 7 nights, I believe, if I'm doing the math right. And this is such a jam-packed itinerary with such amazing stuff. So, happy to answer more questions about inclusions if you have them. One thing I will say is that early March, about 5 months away. So if those passports are non-existent in your household or out of date or will expire soon, they'll need to be valid through September 14th, 2022. We need 6 months after return. You'll want to go ahead and get those applications in ASAP, or renewals. They are taking 18 weeks. On average, you could pay to expedite, but it will still take at least a couple months, if not 3. And we will need that passport information relatively soon for airline ticketing purposes. So we want to I just want to put that out there. Go look at those passports today. If you can't find them or whatever, make a note to get that application going. And then we have the the upgraded protection program, UPP, included in this trip cost as well, which is typically $249 per person. So this will allow any individual to cancel for any reason up to 2 days before departure. So that would be March 4th, 2022, for any reason, for a 75% refund of all monies paid in up to that point. So, what if you cancel in January? It'd be 75% of the monies paid up until that point. And this is very much in keeping with industry standards for these kinds of programs. So we've got that included as well. In order to register, you're going to go online, or you could call customer service, but I would encourage you to go online. And you would sign up, and there's a $99 deposit, But for any new travelers that are just now signing on, not the people that signed on in the spring, summer, it will be the $99 deposit plus the cancel for any reason pricing. Okay, so that's $348 altogether. That's $99 deposit plus the $249 cancel for any reason trip protection, totaling $348. This is sort of, you know, whenever you get sort of an insurance premium, you always have to like just pay a little bit more upfront, and then, you know, so we're basically covering that right at the get-go, so everyone is protected and everyone is covered right from the jump. So we have several payment programs. You could have automated monthly auto debits. That's easy pay. You could do that through the online system. You could also do big, you know, chunky installment payments, or you could call customer service to enroll in the Advantage payment plan. That's what we call APP. Advantage payment plan is a lower monthly payment, and you can travel with up to a 40% balance on your account and then continue making payments after travel is completed. That's an amazing option. I wish it had been available to me when I was younger and traveling with choirs. Another reason to call customer service is to check on the FLAG financial aid program. So families earning under $85,000 a year can call customer service and enroll in FLAG financial aid. And it's, you know, it's a simple application. I think it, you know, involves uploading a tax return, and it's a sliding scale, but it will just knock money off of your trip costs. So definitely check that out. And that can lower your balance as well. We have some individual fundraising. I believe there's some group fundraising going on through the school. So there's all kinds of ways that we can bring that cost incrementally down for everybody. The gift of performance is my favorite individual fundraising program that we have, which is basically like, hey, it's the holidays, it's my birthday, you know, whatever. If you could help me go on this amazing trip to Central Europe to perform and experience all of these things, you can contribute directly to my account. And so any donations made through that system will go directly to each student account, and it will lower the balance from there. So it's kind of like a GoFundMe, but just directly to the account with no percentage taken out for like credit card processing fees or anything like that. So to register, we'd like to get everybody on board in the next couple weeks here to make those payments more manageable, and also so that Mr. Thibodeau knows how big of an ensemble is going. That will help us with securing the right venues for the group, securing your flights, securing the hotels. So we'd love to have people jumping on board. You can go to worldstrides.com/register and use your trip ID here, Thibodeau-1285. Now keep in mind, I will send all of this via email tomorrow, but you can write it down if you want to jump on tonight and see what it's all about. And the customer service number is there as well, 800-468-5899. And that's about everything I think I have to tell you. I'm sure you're like, oh my gosh, lady, please stop talking. So I just wanted to quickly, before I turn it over to some questions, show you all what the itinerary is going to look like when you see it online through our website and when you go to register. So you'll see here we have 160 days until departure. That's exciting. We've got our trip dates here, trip ID, and you can see the full, on the left side, full itinerary. Anything that looks like a link, you can click on it and learn more about that place and why it's included. You'll be able to see all of the inclusions at the bottom here. And then over here, the total fee here, your initial payment, and then a location to sign up. So I will make sure all of this is very handy for all of you. And like once people are registered, you'll be able to go into your own account and see your own fundraising portal and all of these great useful things regarding payments and dietary restrictions and all of that stuff that's going to be important to delivering a great tour. So, and I will be working with Mr. Thibodeau closely to make sure everyone is happy and healthy and well taken care of on the trip. So please let me know if y'all have questions. I'm opening up the floor. And also, Mr. Thibodeau, if you want to jump in with anything, now would be great.
Yeah, there's one that talks about if we've already registered, did our trip ID change for everybody or just the people that are adding right now?
So I believe people that were already registered should have received a customer service email saying like, hey, we're moving into an upgraded system. Everybody got that, right? That was like last week, if I recall correctly. I've got a bunch of groups moving and it's a lot of emails, but yes. So the trip ID, it actually, if you use, for people that are just now signing up, you'll want to use this one, Thibodeau 1-1285. For anyone that's already registered, you don't have to do anything. You like everything as far as how to log into the new system will be sent to you via customer service if it hasn't been done so already, and you'll know how to log into this new system, which is actually, it's kind of a pain in the butt on my end, but it's a much better system that's way more user friendly for all of you. So let me know if there's any further questions about that. This would just be for new registrants.
And then is there a timeline for when they apply for the financial aid to when they can expect a yes or a no if they were accepted?
I think it's quick. Someone said that they were approved. So someone in here has done it for themselves. And so if they want to actually add it to the chat, that would be great. I've never had to do it for myself because I haven't been a traveler, like a paying traveler. So I think it's fairly quick. I think the answer comes through fairly quickly. If anyone wants to counter that, I'm here for it. I'm seeing a food allergies thing. That's something that I will make sure Mr. Thibodeau is well aware of, but you'll be able to add those things in the new system. And there will be a form that goes out with regards to dietary restrictions and preferences. And we will make sure that your tour director has all of that at least 30 days before the trip happens. So we are like way good to go with all of the dinner reservations and any meal reservations really. Let's see, cash for incidentals. Most of it's covered, just travel, like international travel day, food cash, and anything for souvenirs, because gratuities are all included in this trip cost as well. What was that?
In years past, we've asked the kids to bring some type of debit card and not necessarily a bunch of cash. And we typically stop somewhere once we're in Austria to do our exchange. Sometimes the ATM cards, the exchange rate's a little bit better than if you walk in someplace and make the change in an airport or something like that.
That's very true. Yes. So I see here that it took about a week to get the decision after the paperwork went in. So hopefully that remains true for everyone. Regarding the price, so for anyone for new registrants, like new freshmen, that like this information was not available in the spring and summer, we will be able to honor the early enrollment deadline pricing of $39.99. And what I would want that will help me is for me to get a list of those travelers, of those new folks that were not in the initial promotion. But for anyone that was aware of the trip and all of this a bit earlier, unfortunately that early enrollment deadline has passed. And so it was set for, I think, the end of June was that $39.99 pricing. So now it's $250 more at $42.49. COVID. Oh yeah. How could I not talk about COVID? Yeah. Okay. So yes, of course there are COVID things. So we are not requiring vaccination. However, if the countries where you are going decide that they require vaccination for US travelers, we have to abide by their rules. Right now, that is not the case. It is either proof of vaccination or a negative PCR test within 3 days. We will help facilitate getting all of that information in a timely fashion if that's still in practice in March. For the groups that have traveled this summer, we had 2 groups that went to Spain. And so they had their tests or vaccination status before they left. And then we had a team of nurses go to the hotel before they returned to administer COVID tests to everyone, regardless of vaccination status, so that everyone could safely return. And everyone could safely return. So that was great. If by chance someone develops COVID while on tour, as of now, we are covering up to $2,000 in stay behind expenses for vaccinated travelers, but not for unvaccinated travelers. When the restrictions went up in Spain for COVID in July, August, we just tinkered with the itinerary a little bit to still make sure that the trips could happen as they were supposed to. And what we did was we brought in extra local guides so that the groups could be in smaller like pods, because nobody could walk around in a group of 40, but they could walk around in a group of 9 or 10. So we had them split up into smaller groups, and everyone was able to still enjoy every aspect of the tour. They still performed, they had audiences, and they all had an amazing time. So we are like very, at this point, nimble and responsive for anything that may arise. A lot of those extra restrictions in Spain happened within 2 weeks of the groups traveling, and we just sort of jumped in and made it work. So at this point, you know, we're ready, but we're going to make sure that you have a safe and good and enjoyable tour, despite all of the craziness that's out there right now. If the world implodes again. Okay, good question. If Europe won't let you go, that is a very different thing, okay, than the cancel for any reason trip protection. That's for if you individually decide to not go or something happens that you cannot go. If there are government restrictions that won't allow World Strides to deliver the tour, we're going to come to Mr. Thibodeau right away and say, hey, they've closed the borders. We can't go in. Yeah, what are we going to do about it? We can either switch destinations to somewhere that will allow us in. We could postpone to a later date. It could even be a later year for when those restrictions would be lifted. And if neither of those options work for you and your group, and the best option is to cancel, this we'll be dealing with this, you know, until 2 months before the expected departure. Then we could cancel for all monies returned less $3.99 per person. And that's really just because at that point we will have made so many reservations, so many deposits in so many places. So yeah, I am really optimistic that that will not be the case. It hasn't been the case thus far, and things are thankfully starting to get better worldwide as of like this week and last week. And I'm hoping the trend continues. So yes, you should carry your vaccine cards, but there a lot of, we'll walk you all through this. For Europe, a lot of times it's an app on the phone that you have to like use QR codes to like prove that you're vaccinated or COVID free. So stay tuned on that. Updates as events warrant. What else? What else we have? Email, medicine, vaccines. If you have 2 reservations, can you have them on one account? So if there are 2, like, you know, 2 siblings or a parent, child, we do need individual reservations because each of you will be ticketed. So register for 2 people in that case. The financial aid I'll put in the chat. That's going to be calling customer service at, oops, I accidentally sent that just to Mr. Thibodeau. 800-468-5899 is the customer service line. We are noticing like just ever so slightly elevated call volumes. I think average wait time is about 10 minutes, just so you know. Yes, changing reservation names. I would call customer service for that. I think you can change it, but you may have to like cancel it and do a new one, but that's definitely a customer service question for any changes there. There is not a date that we are cutting. So we have to have everyone lined up for ticketing purposes by 110 days prior to departure. So let me just Google that. 110 days before March 6th. November 16th is when I need to have the list of the people at that point. Let me put that in the chat too. What did I say, November 16th? Okay, so I'm encouraging folks to sign up by October 15th, but technically there's a window of about another month there. Good questions. When is the final payment due? I am fairly certain it is 60 days prior to departure. However, keep in mind that if you do APP, that's the Advantage Payment Plan, you continue paying after travel. So that would be a different payment arrangement. It is possible that I am wrong about that being 60 days prior to departure. Let me make a note to myself to triple check that, and I will send it in my follow-up email in the morning, okay? You know, I'm just gonna put it in my notes here.
Some of the questions, like the questions about the medicine, and then I'm kind of particular about how the kids are going to carry their wallets and their passports and those kinds of things. We're going to have a parent and student meeting more than likely 2 weeks before we leave. The week before we leave is UIL, so we're not going to do it that week. It'll be 2 weeks before we go. And that'll be the night where everybody meets their chaperones, and the chaperones will meet the students they're going to talk to. It's when we're going to find out who's in our small groups, make sure we have all of the rooming situated correctly. I pretty much have a good handle on the chaperone lists and who gets to room with who. We try our best to match that up with the kids and their buddies. The one thing I don't have any control over is the flight manifest. I can't determine, you know, right now she said it's more likely we're going to be on one plane. If that happens, that will be a miracle that has never happened in my life. So that's pretty exciting. But if
that's
it
why I'm
doesn't,
working hard to make it happen.
yeah, I mean, that would be fantastic. But oh, there goes the lights. But if that doesn't happen, we just got to keep in mind. She'll say, Mr. T, you've got 30 on this one and 40 on this one, and then we divide it. It's almost alphabetical. And then I don't have a lot of say like who sits where or that kind of stuff. So we just kind of have to roll with the punches when it comes to the airlines. But everything else, we try to make sure the kids are as happy and they're rooming with their buddies, and their sightseeing groups are small and they're with their parents and with their friends. But that's a little something we're going to go over. Well, if we're going to do October 15th, then that'll be my day to know who's going to be rooming with who and the different chaperone groups. And that way I can start posting that stuff in like a Google Classroom so we can start checking out names and trying to steer away from something that may arise later on.
Hey, Thibodeau, I would assume if we have to split flights, you'll put like either you and Norton will split up or I will split up with y'all to help with supervision stuff.
Yeah, and I'll take a flight, Mr. Norton will take a flight, and then like Mr. Norton will take a bag of meds for whoever's on his flight, and I'll take the bag of meds for whoever's on my flight. Northeast ISDs did something very awesome a couple of years ago. If you are traveling with your own student, then you can take their meds for them. That's a lifesaver. But if your student is traveling without a parent, then I have to hold all medicine, and I bring one of my carry-ons is nothing but medicine. They love when I go through customs. They love when I go through security. I have a bag of prescription meds and my name's not on a single one. So that's just part of, yeah, I typically go first because if anybody's going to get pulled into the little room, it'll be me with all of my medicine. But we'll be close by on those planes because the flight is fairly long and somebody may need to take something either before or in the middle or that kind of stuff. And I typically like stand up and say, hey, I'm over here. And if they need something, that's where I am. Yeah,
There is not an additional cost for the APP plan, just so you know. I see that question in there. Regarding name changes, that's a customer service thing. But if it changed and it's different from what's on your passport, then you'll want to update your passport so that your names are the same. Airlines don't know what to do when your name is ever so slightly different from one piece of documentation to another. They just lose their minds about it. So, and the bus to Houston, Jason, I think that you could touch on that.
The Booster Club is going to try to provide that service for the kids. You're talking about passports. The kids, I've got the scariest story about passports, and I am going to scare those kids with that story the best I can. While we're traveling, though, they have to have the passport on their person. Once we get to the hotel, those passports belong to me. I grab them, I lock them up in the hotel safe, not in like one of those little ones in the room. We lock them in the hotel safe. I even pull the chaperone passports. And we lock them, and then they stay in the hotel safe, like in the lobby safe, the big one. And then when we leave, I check them out, go through each passport, make sure they're all there, put them back in my bag, and we move on to the next hotel. And that's one of the big things. So I don't let the kids walk around with their passports. It's just we had a student lose a passport traveling from London to Rome. I spent 24 hours outside of like a Italian immigration thing, and they sent the young lady home. It was a long story. So that's why I'm not going to let the kids hold on to their own passports. We're gonna hold on to them myself and lock them up in a safe all the time, really. An EU
the passport card is only for driving through North America, so that will not work for Europe. The EU passport, honestly, I'm not sure. That is not a question that has come up to me yet, but I would say it can't hurt to have an EU passport. But I can double check on that one as well. I'm adding that to my list.
I was just going to say, just because I've traveled a lot, I would want my kid to have the same country of origin as everybody else, because you usually go into like a different line entering the country, depending upon what country you're from. And so if he has an EU passport, he's going to, or she is going to have to separate into like a different line from everybody else.
There should not be any visa requirements for this trip.
The visa requirements will depend on the origin of your passport.
Yes, that is.
So Miss Sasha is in New Orleans, so more than likely most of those folks all have U.S. passports. Here in San Antonio, that's not always the case.
Fair point. That's fair point.
Because we have people that have citizenship in the United States, and we have some people who have citizenship in Mexico.
Yes.
We've also had an experience with this. Last time we were in Austria, the visa that gets you from Mexico to Texas and Texas to Mexico is not the same visa that you need traveling from Germany or Austria back into the United States. So to be honest with you, that's kind of up to the family. Like if I have a visa from someplace a passport someplace other than the United States, it's kind of up to me to double check those visas and make sure I have the right documentation to travel back and forth. Sorry, I didn't mean to contradict you, Ms. Sasha.
No, that was completely valid and very useful. If anyone has specific questions, feel free to email your teacher here. I will, of course, double check on that to help, it's always nice to have confirmation of your own research too. So happy to make sure that everyone knows everything they need to go. Great questions. Y'all put me through my paces today. So
Welcome to
anything else,
Churchill.
folks?
Okay, well, if that's it, I'll stay online for a little while to answer some individual questions. You feel free to send me an email. It's the same as always, but there's that. My teacher website has some photos of some of the performance venues we were in before. It has the itinerary listed there. This presentation will be up there, I don't know, in the next hour or so, however long it takes YouTube to load it up.
Yeah. And just watch your email for a little follow-up from me with all the instructions and all the info in a nice bulleted list. And yeah, any questions that come up after I'm gone, I'm sure Mr. Thibodeau will make sure they come my way so we get you some good answers real quick. So thank you for your time. I greatly appreciate it. And I'm really looking forward to making this wonderful trip come to fruition in about 5 months. So I'm very excited. Yay. All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Mr. Thibodeau?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Hi, I'm Delia Canizales. I'm Santiago's mom.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going well, thank you. What is the weather like during March? Is it going to be, because, we don't have weather closed, cold winter closed in San Antonio.
No, it's not going to be like frigid, like snowing, blizzard kind of stuff. It'll be a little chilly, talking like maybe 50s and 60s.
I might be the dork that looked that up today, Mr. Thibodeau. It's Ms. Schaefer.
Yeah, I have it on my phone. I can tell you what it is today.
It's exactly what he said, like 50s and 60s. They said it's a perfect time to go.
I have been one time, and today, oh well, they're 7 hours ahead, right? It's 63 degrees there now.
Wow.
One day we were there, and it kind of had like a misty rain, kind of like what you would think more London-ish, right? But most of the time we've been very lucky. The weather was nice. We didn't catch a lot of rain, or if we did catch rain, we were on the bus while it was raining, so it really wasn't that big a deal.
Okay. And then just a quick question about mariachi tomorrow. We can't get him to HEB. Can he ride with you just to HEB, and then we can pick him up?
I don't mind him.
Can he walk there?
I don't mind him riding with me, but because of the whole teacher-student thing, maybe is it okay if he rides with another student?
It is, if it's okay with the students' parents. I would have to ask the student parents.
Okay, because I know there's another guitar kid, and he typically rides with one of the violin guys. So I'll chat with him tomorrow, and if not, then I have like this. It's like a permission slip that says I give Mr. Thibodeau permission. I know it's kind of silly, but I just want to make sure, because I'm a teacher. I don't know. I just want to make sure everybody knows.
Yeah, no, I totally get it. I would sign off on it. We can't get him there, but we can pick him up.
Oh, hey, clothes. What's important is a good pair of shoes. That's more important than just about anything else, because there's a lot of walking.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you. Those are the questions I had.
All right. Thank you, ma'am. Have a good day.
You too. Bye-bye.
All right, Thibodeau, I'm out. I guess just send me what I need to fill out pre-form wise. All right.
Yeah.
See you tomorrow. Bye, guys. Thank y'all.
Bye.
Hi, Mr. Thibodeau.
Hello.
Hi. It's Eddie's mom, Caesar's
Hey.
mom, Eddie.
How are you
Hi.
doing?
Good. How are you?
Good.
I had a question about the medications. So is it going to be okay just to have like, you know, the prescribed medicine, or do we need something from the doctor? Because like some of the medications are, you know, they're like they're scheduled.
So typically like 3 days before we leave her on our trip, all the medicine goes to our nurse, the school
Okay.
nurse. And then she's gonna look through it.
Okay.
And believe it or not, I have to go sit through like a little 30-minute training.
Okay.
Most meds are, I mean, I've been doing it a long time and I still have to go sit through the little EpiPen demonstration, and I have to, you know, so, but when you turn stuff into the nurse, everything has to be in the original prescription bottle. Like
Okay.
I don't need like a note from the doctor per se, but it has to be in the bottle for the prescription.
Got it.
And it's because of past experiences, I'll tell you, it's wise to put maybe an extra 2 days of medicine in the packaging. And then just for me, a handwritten note that says, "Hey, Mr. T, Eddie's gonna need this in the morning and at dinner, and it's better if he does it before he eats." Or he needs one of these and two of these, just because, you know, I don't do it every day, so I want to make sure I have it right.
Okay. All right. That's the only question I had.
Okay.
Bye.
Oh, you have a good night too, sir. Thank you. Have a good night. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and turn it off, but we're always here. Feel free to shoot us an email if you need anything. Have a good night.